Hi. I'm here to provide an alternative perspective on the recent supermarket price wars. I'm not sure you know, but there's over 1,000 farms in the Sydney Basin, and only 3 of them are organic or chemical free, or organic. And they produce actually most of Sydney's perishable produce. But every week, 3 or more farmers are going out of business and walking off their farms. So what this means is that we actually really need to think about how we're going to balance the needs of affordable food against the needs of farmers to receive a fair price. And as our mate Jamie Oliver, who will be coming up in a second, is always keen to point out, there's another factor. It's not just about cheap prices, but it's about good food and good nutrition for us as consumers. Death and disease, poor diet, poor nutrition is actually one of the leading causes of death and disease in any country. Forget the guns, forget all those sorts of drugs, all those things, car crashes. It's actually poor nutrition. So what do we need to address this? We need to connect again with who's growing our food and how it's being grown. And we can do this by starting a fair food movement, where we really connect with who's growing our food. We find out how they're growing it. This piece of broccoli that I'm about to eat tonight, how was that grown? What does it mean to me? And at Food, I've got an admission to make. I'm from Food Connect, so I'm highly biased. And what we're about is a social enterprise. So we have a social and environmental agenda, like a not-for-profit, but we combine that with the for-profit motives of a business. And so we sell things. We sell fruit and vegetables. At its most basic, what we do is we buy direct from local, sustainable and ethical farmers. We package it up into boxes and deliver it out to community pick-up points around Sydney. And we have a vision for how the fair food movement could look in Sydney, and I'd love to share that with you now. And it's about farmers, the community, you, environment and animals. This is Anthony, one of our farmers in the northwest Sydney that I'll talk about later. What we want for him is a viable career. He had heritage, a citrus grove, which he needed to bulldoze into the ground because people weren't buying these heritage varieties at the supermarkets. What do? What we do at Food Connect is we pay a fair price. We pay them at least 42 cents in the dollar, which is a much higher percentage than what happens when you pay $1 at the supermarkets. We treat the farmers with respect and we build relationships with them and we profile them every opportunity we can in the media. So what can you do? You can start to find out. Ask questions from where you get your food. Who's growing it? How is it being grown? And vote with your wallet and buy from organisations that pay a fair price. This is Bolas. He's a Sudanese refugee. He came to Australia to have a new fresh start. He farms out at St Mary's and we buy from him. This is Awatif, his wife and family who work at Food Connect packing the food. And again, this is part of about being a social enterprise as opposed to business as usual. We really connect with our farmers. But we also want great community. So we want local, sustainable, ethical food for all people. And we want strong communities working together to make that happen. And so what we're doing there is we've helped create over 36 community-based food hubs around Sydney where people come together around good food. We were also starting on creating buyers groups, helping people to form informal groups where they use their bulk buying power to make it much more affordable to a much wider range of people. And also home delivery, where we started helping people with disabilities actually start jobs as a micro-enterprise under the Food Connect and doing home deliveries. So what can you do? Join a community garden, start a group yourself, and support any of these community initiatives where building a resilient food system is part of their underlying theme. I'd love to tell you about Bondi Junction as an inspiring story, Bondi Beach I mean, where at Chapel by the Sea, they get together, they buy a box and they cook it up as a meal and share the meal together, and afterwards they watch a movie that's on an inspiring theme. And in that way, over time, they get to know each other as a community and get to actually, I guess, go against that tourist culture that's building up in Bondi Beach. For you, you might not be interested in community. You might just want to go home and get your food. So what's this about for you? Well, making a connection with your food and who's growing it, we believe, is important to you from a health perspective. We do that for all the people that come through Food Connect. Over half of them increase the amount of fresh produce they eat. And so we provide recipes and information about what's going on at the farm. And we make it easy for you to find how to get local, sustainable and ethical food, including things like marmalades and breads and eggs and all the things around that. These marmalades are actually made from a friend of Anthony's from the citrus that he grows. Finally, we're also about environment and animal ethics as well. So what do we want? We want a food system that uses no toxic chemicals, that has no animal cruelty, less packaging, less fossil fuels and less waste. And what we do is we support local, sustainable and ethical farmers. We use minimum packaging and have very low food miles. What we've got here is wonky carrots. This would not be acceptable at the big supermarkets. It's perfectly good food. It's a bit fun even. The kids love it. And so what you can do is vote with your wallet and buy from sustainable and ethical suppliers, and also go for nutrition and good value as opposed to shine and gloss. You might think this is all just pie in the sky and you know, great thinking. But in the 2 years that Food Connect's been operating in Sydney, we've diverted over $1 million into the alternative fair food market. And we've also employed over 10 people, with almost half of that going back to farmers and over $12,000 devoted to people in need. And then finally, you know, never forget that your choices at the supermarket and at the dinner table make a difference each and every day.